Basically what happened is read my sister's blog. It was sent to me by a friend of mine who was asking if one of the characters was me. Spoiler alert, it was me. It's couple years old and really popular. She doesn't use our family's real names, but they are very similar and use the same first letter. So think real names. Katy, Julia, Marissa, and Brad, then the fake names being Kathy, June, Marnie, and Bob. It's descriptive enough of our lives and what we do for work that my friend identified me from it. It's mostly about her and her life, but there is still a lot about us. A year ago I had an abortion. It was during the lowest point in my life so far, and only she and my husband knew about it. She swore to me that she would take the secret to her grave. Yeah, she dedicated a whole entry to it. A couple months ago she and her husband got laid off due to world events. I run my own business that wasn't really affected, and I offered her a job there to help her out. She's not qualified in my field, so I essentially made up a position for her so she could have a steady paycheck. She basically does data entry and other random tasks online from her home. Her blog since then has basically centered on how much she hates it. She called it demeaning work and says a bunch of bullcrap about how I obviously don't respect her intelligence. I say this is bullcrap because, 1. She would need years of training to work any of the open positions. 2. I told her what she would do when I offered it and she gushed about how grateful she was and that I was really helping her. I called her and told her what I had read and how hurt I was. Her defense is that the blog is her online diary where she vents and that I should know not to take any of it personally. She actually had the gall to tell me that she is hurt that I read it. Apparently the right thing to do was ignore it. I told her off for telling the internet my secrets and dragging me online where I could be and was found by people who know me. She just said she did all her due diligence by changing the names and it wasn't her fault my friend found it. We argued for a bit, it got increasingly heated and I fired her. I told her that if she couldn't apologize or see how she was wrong here, then she wasn't who I thought she is and she could find a job where she felt more respected. It's been a week and I haven't spoken to her at all. Her husband has been contacting me on her behalf trying to get her job back as they need the money. He claims she is sorry, but I think if she was, then she could tell me herself. My own husband is telling me I am overreacting and that she's family and I should just forget it. I don't agree. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. She took your secret to the internet instead of the grave and constantly whining about her job. A diary, if intended to be private, isn't posted online for the whole world to read. For her to claim it was private is some next level delusion. If it's so awful, why the hell does she want it back? Frankly, even if she really is sorry, would you put up with any other employee whining how much working for you is terrible online? Or would you fire their butt? There's a difference with her private diary and a place where she publicly humiliated you. If it was truly a private diary that you happened to snoop on, that's a different story. But she wrote it online. People don't write things online because they want it to be private. They write it online because they want people to sympathize them. I wouldn't rehire her without a proper apology. She aired out a very secretive personal information about you and then talked smacked about you because you couldn't give her a position that's in her field. She's not grateful. She's entitled. People don't keep diaries that detailed and full of family secrets and drama online unless they're looking for attention. If it was for personal venting, it'd be a series of Word docs in a folder or on a private blog no one could see. I'd also advise against rehiring her in general because she seems like a potential problem in the future. In that she seems like a crap stirrer and not above creating drama in the workplace in order to feel important. Update. After reading a lot of the response I have become more and more sickened by this situation. I sent my sister an email detailing how much damage this is doing to me emotionally and could do to me financially and professionally. In the email I am asking her to delete all entries in her blog that include private details about me, my business or our family. I am giving her an ultimatum. She can do as I asked, delete the entries, and I will consider it water under the bridge. We can move on with our lives and try to repair our relationship. Or she can continue to ignore me, keep her blog, and can consider me out of her life. We can see each other at family events and keep things civil, but I will no longer share my life with her. She won't be an aunt to my future children or a real sister to me. I'll update if and when she responds. Update 2. She replied to my email asking me to FaceTime her tomorrow. She wants to talk to me after we both have had the night to cool down. I agree with her as I am pretty heated right now. We'll update after our talk. Thank you everyone for the support, has really opened my eyes to the gravity of the situation. Final update. I talked to my sister early this morning. We had a really productive conversation. I won't go into too much detail since it was a long and emotional call. The reason she had not reached out during the week we weren't talking was a bit surprising. It turns out her husband knew about the blog, but had never read it at a request. After our blow up he wanted to see what had made me so upset. She allowed him to read some of the entries and he ended up siding with me. There was also some information on him and his family that he was upset about, so they were having a separate fight about that. I guess my email to her put into perspective to her how much damage her blog and the information she shared there could affect others. She showed me over the video that she actually deleted the whole thing. She told me that the blogging started out as a place to vent, but when it got more popular people started emailing her asking for updates on certain characters, for example her family, and she started seeing hundreds of comments. She became obsessed with it basically. She apologized for sharing my secrets and for being ungrateful about the job. She claims that she was exaggerating in the blog to get more views and likes, and I can see that. Our relationship is damaged but not beyond repair. She is not coming back to work for me, instead I am just sending them a small amount of money to help cover their rent. It not as much as she was making, but I really do love her and I still want to help her. Once one of them gets a job they will get back on their feet. This way they at least have less stress. Once things start to reopen in our area she promised to set up a regular therapy appointment where she can vent all she wants and get actual advice. As well as help for what she described as a blogging addiction. I want to thank everyone for the comments. Some of them were harsh and some of them were crazy, but it helped a lot to figure out how I actually felt about the situation. I won't mince words. I'm 22, the product of an affair. My father comes from a wealthy family and is a businessman in Asia, and my mother used to be a flight attendant in the 90s. My dad has always been there when I was growing up, even if my mom and I live in the United States, and has provided for us financially. His real family knows about me. He and his wife Sarah got married out of business convenience, and she's never resented me or made me feel bad in any way. I've always respected her for letting me have a relationship with my older brothers and letting me come with their family on summer vacations. She even sent our family flowers when my mom got married a few years ago. Sadly Sarah passed away from cancer a few months ago. It's been rough on my dad and brothers. She was a wonderful, kind woman and I miss her a lot. Sarah was very wealthy and left my brothers a significant inheritance. Apparently she also left me something in her will. A few $1,000s. I burst into tears when my brothers called me with the news. I didn't expect her to even acknowledge me in any way as her husband's bastard child, even if we had a good relationship. The problem is my family. My uncles and grandma think that I shouldn't accept the money because I'm not family. My brothers have been saying that over in their country, Sarah's family is also contesting the will to remove me because I'm not her daughter or related to her in any way. I've been feeling pressure to not accept the money, even if my dad and brothers say I have every right to accept it. Am I the idiot for thinking about taking my inheritance? Sarah clearly loved you, and it was her dying wish that you have that gift. I think accepting it at the very least to respect a dying woman's wishes who was dear to you is the best course of action. If the legal dispute results in you being removed from the will, it's up to you if you want to fight it. But I think she obviously wanted to include you in her will because she wanted you to have this. To remember her by and to use for yourself. I can also understand the position of both families, though they may be misguided. They're also grieving. Whatever you decide, I'm sure you will handle it with respect and grace. Not the idiot. Why is your family talking crap about you getting money? They should be happy and supporting you. Talk to your mother and ask for her opinion, but it seems that your father as well as his and Sarah's children want you to accept it. Not the idiot. Technically it's not an inheritance, just to be in someone's will that you're not biologically related to. It's just that she cared about you and wanted to leave you something. This person had their reasons for including you in their will. The reason was so you'd know they cared about you. You'd be doing this person a disservice if you didn't honor her wishes. I'm sure she did or would have gotten the same opposition from her family when she was alive, and she still decided to include you in her will. You should take the money and be happy in the knowledge that you were special to this person you thought was so wonderful. I am a person in my teens, have some birth defects and was adopted at a very young age. Last week it was broken to me that my birth parents are actually my adoptive parents' distant cousins. They gave me away for adoption and are now married and has a son, my biological brother, who had no idea that I existed. I have actually met the family twice during big family gatherings at my grandfather's house and had no idea who they were. I guess it was kept a secret too because nobody among the relatives talked about it. Just out of curiosity I looked up their contact details and messaged my birth mother. I love my adoptive parents, but I want to get to know my biological family a little more, especially my brother. He is 11 years old now, not that far from me. She asked me to not message or try to contact her family before blocking me. I tried messaging my birth father and he took very long to reply me. He was more patient and explained to me that he wants me to put my focus on my adoptive parents and we are all better off without each other's. When I asked to talk with him face to face, he blocked me too. This just makes me so angry. They are not divorced or child-free, but they just gave me up for adoption. Is it because of my birth defects? I looked up into social media and saw that those two had quite some reputation as public servants. I sent emails with my pictures attached to their workplace and on social media and announced that I am their kid, take a good look at me because this nice couple have gave me up. Who knows, maybe they will even get into the local news. I admit I did it without consideration and it may affect their job, and my brothers too. Thought I feel like if they had at least tried to talk with me nicely about it, I may not have done that. Am I the idiot? You're the idiot. You're vengeful and misguided. You have no right to judge their circumstances today versus what you assume their circumstances were then. You will regret this action and you should do your best to correct it as soon as possible. No one is going to judge your birth parents for placing you for adoption. It is a kind, selfless choice in almost everyone else's mind. Most people also know of adoption horror stories where reuniting goes wrong, and you're going to seem like the bad person in those horror stories, trying to destroy their reputation out of spite. Giving a kid up for adoption is a tough choice, and it's usually for the best. If someone isn't 100% prepared to love a child, they may resent it, and that leads to horrible situations. Anyone adopting really want a child, and that home is usually the better option. Maybe they should have talked to you. I'm not sure, it could be troublesome for them to build any sort of bond. The email is the reason you are the idiot. Don't mess with people's careers, man. You are the idiot, you have ruined your chances of reconciling with them now. I would tell your adoptive parents what happened and ask them to find you a therapist. Then go see the therapist to work on your feelings about being adopted. Take down the post and stop reaching out to your biological family. Make your best life with your adoptive family. I like spicy snacks. I love spice. I've grown up trying foods from all around the world, and so I love spices and herbs, etc. My friends all know this, and so they regularly try things I'm eating, and I'm cool with it. I like to educate people on food. I find it interesting and cool, and I love to cook. Now I have this friend, you know, one of those people who's part of the group, but you've never really properly talked to. She's also one of those people who thinks salt and pepper is spicy. She's ridiculous, really. She literally ate a lasagna one day and complained about how spicy it was and how she needed some milk. Well, yesterday I was eating these spicy nuts which I love, and some of our friends were having some too when she asked if she could try one, and I said sure, but they are spicy and they're nuts, just so you know. Well, she tried it and squealed and did the whole dramatics of panting and flapping her arms about as she chugged some water down, and another girl went and got her a glass of milk. Thing is, she got so angry and started screaming at me saying I shouldn't have let her eat it. I told her it was her decision, not mine. Well, our whole group practically kisses the floor she walks on, and now everybody is insulting me and telling me I'm a horrible person and saying I shouldn't bring my food anymore. The whole group has voted and decided I'm no longer allowed to bring my own snacks or cook for everyone. I think this is all ridiculous, but I'm apparently an idiot. Am I really the idiot here? Also, sorry for a really pathetic story. Not the idiot. Tempting to say everyone's the idiot here, because everyone is the idiot, except you. They got their vote exactly backwards. If anyone in the group needs to be not allowed to eat with them, it's Little Miss Drama Queen. She knows she hates spicy, you warned her it was spicy, she tried it anyway. Wonder of wonders, she hates it. And now as a result you are not allowed to eat what you want. You, and everybody else, are only allowed to eat what she likes. Screw that. She gets to control her own damn mouth. Not everybody else's. Tell her to bring her own damn food, and shut the hell up. Not the idiot. How the hell were you supposed to predict the future and assume it would be too spicy for her? You literally prefaced her eating at their spicy nuts. As for the rest of your friends, I don't think they value you much if they're willing to restrict the things you like or like to do because of one person's preferences. You warned her before she tried some. Also your friends tried it and could have stopped her too. If she knows she can't handle anything spicy, I don't know why she was surprised that your spicy peanuts were in fact spicy. Also don't bash or judge people for not being able to handle spicy food. She definitely overreacts but not everyone does. I don't like spices, I can handle some, but I'm not great and I don't make a fuss when I eat something spicy. My mom is also one of those people who thinks pepper is spicy and she never acts like that girl. She's just a baby. My kids are aged 14 and 15. The other day my son asked if I could wash his favorite shirt for some event coming up, so I told him I would and to put it in the hamper. Later that day I found it just sitting on the floor, so I didn't bother. Same thing with my daughter, she asked me to wash something, don't remember what, and she got the same response. Same thing happened with a piece of clothing on the floor instead of the hamper, so I didn't bother. Later in the evening they started whining about the clothes they requested not being washed, and I told them all you had to do was put it in the hamper, to which my son said, yeah, but it was near the hamper, you can just pick it up, to which my daughter agreed. I didn't say anything more about the issue. The next morning I went to the dollar store and bought some laundry detergent. When my kids came down for breakfast it was sitting on the table and they asked what it was. I informed them that until they stop being entitled spoiled brats, that they can wash their own clothes, but not with my washing machine. I informed them they will be washing all their clothes from now on in the bathtub with dollar store detergent until they start being respectful, and I receive an apology for the remarks about picking up their crap near the hamper, and once the detergent runs out they have to use their own money to buy more, but they're only allowed to buy it at the dollar store. Then came more whining. It's been a week and they still haven't apologized, and I'm saving time, money and water on only washing mine and my husband's clothes. My husband said I'm being harsh, but I don't think so. So am I the idiot for teaching my kids a lesson? Everyone's the idiot here. The goal of raising kids is to prepare them for the real world. At this point, washing their own clothes and not expecting someone else to do it is probably the best step. But why in the bathtub? That's not realistically preparing them for life. Get them to use your machine and leave it up to them. I wouldn't be surprised if they just started doing their laundry at a friend's house just so they could use a washing machine and play the victim because whose parent says they can't use the appliances. First of all, that's got to be terrible for the bathtub. Second of all, your kids are going to smell like crap. There is zero chance of them doing a decent job cleaning their clothes in a bathtub. Sure, they are being entitled brats, but your reaction is definitely overly harsh. Teach them to use the washer and dryer and make them responsible for their own laundry. Everyone wins. I was saying everyone is the idiots, but honestly, it's just you. They are teenagers. They are supposed to act like brats. It's your job to teach them not to be. Everyone's the idiot here, you went into bizarre territory here. An appropriate punishment for their snotty behavior would be to require them to do their own laundry in the family machine. These additional restrictions feel humiliation-based, like making someone clean a floor with a toothbrush instead of the proper tools. That is reinforced by my assumption that your kids, by virtue of being children and inexpert in hand washing, will end up having to wear smelly, poorly washed clothes to school.